Hi y'all, I'm Kaylee Ross and I'm doing my project on plant-based diets and their effects on non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is the most common liver disease in the world. There are more, but this one is the most common. Plant-based diets are becoming more and more popular these days because plants are better for you, so people are eating more and more plants because they think their bodies will look better. Plant diets include plants, seeds, fruits, whole grains, and beans. These things are healthier for you and better than fats and sugars. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is a liver disease where people have too much fats in their livers, and they don't consume the amount of alcohol needed for survival, most common in overweight people and obese people. These overweight and obese people can't stop eating fat and sugars, so that is why they get this disease in their liver, because their liver stores too much fat. How the experiment was done. Over 500,000 participants were used. Their hypothesis was higher healthful plant-based diets will have lower risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Unhealthful plant-based diets equals greater risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That was their hypothesis. 159,222 people had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and other liver diseases. 20,692 participants had MRIs done to see the fat amounts in their liver. They used Oxford WebQ, which is a 24-hour questionnaire. And they asked what foods they consumed in the last 24 hours were recorded on this website. And 3 plant-based diets were recorded. So first we have the plant-based diet, and that is just eating plants, like just eating plants. And then we have a healthful plant-based diet, which is healthful plant foods like whole grains, vegetables, nuts, legumes, coffee, and tea. And then unhealthful plant-based diet, which is less healthy plant foods like refined grains, fruit juices, and sugar-sweetened beverages like sweet tea. So yeah, these are what they used. So these are the results. A polygenetic risk score was made based on genetic variants associated with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. They were right. Their hypothesis was right. Healthful plant-based diets were associated with lower risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Unhealthful plant-based diets were associated with higher risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Lower genetic risk means lower chance of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And I agree with this because they're scientists, they know what they're doing, and I agree with their results and their testings. There were some limits. The limits were it was an observational study, which means they observed it, they didn't really test anything. And diets were self-reported, which means they could have lied about these diets. Liver fat was measured using an MRI. Sometimes MRIs are wrong, and they're not always right. The participants' ancestry was mainly European, so none of the other ancestries were used. There were some controversies and concerns. Some argue that focus should be on the exercise and sleep and not diets, like not just your diets. Some hate genetic testing, which they do not like. How findings help with science. Diets impact health and health issues. We understood that some diets lead to health issues and some do not. So we got to find the healthy diet. How to get more research. Future research can be done using trials to test people who have plant-based diets instead of them doing self-reports. Scientists could use more diverse populations instead of just Europeans for the next experiment. They can use long-term studies to see the long-term effects of eating plants instead of other diets. Like, instead of just doing a short-term 24-hour survey, they can do long-term studies that last way longer. They would need to do more genetic testing on other diversity groups because, like I said, just Europeans is not enough. They would need to do more people, like a more variety pool. So, these are some of the foods that plant-based genetic people eat. They eat vegetables, and then there's some plants, and then there's some beans, and there's some rice. This is what they eat. So they don't eat meat, they just eat all these plants and vegetables and fruits that grow. So here are some graphs. The first one is overall plant-based diet index, just eating plants, and it says that it has a lower risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And the second one is healthful plant-based diets, and it also has a lower risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And the third one is unhealthful plant-based diet, and it has a higher risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So yeah.